Look at the next leadership forum.
Hi, thank you for joining me on another episode of my content on leadership development. Today I'll be speaking about another wonderful topic in leadership development, and that is the concept of validation. It's an advanced topic in leadership development because it often determines the level of successes that a leader achieves. There are two categories of validation. The first category of validation is traditional validation. Traditional validation are the types of validation that leaders get because it comes with the office that they occupy. In this case, the validation itself is not necessarily given to the person, but the validation is given to the office that the person occupies. When that person steps down from that office, that person might not necessarily enjoy that kind of validation anymore. For example, politicians naturally get the validation of the people because such politician has received the validation of the people through their votes. So we call them honorable, we call them your excellencies, we give them all kinds of names to show we honor and we validate them. Such politician might not necessarily be loved by everybody in the community, but by the virtue of the office that such leader occupies, such leader gets the validation of the community. Another example is that of royalty. A king is validated by the virtue of the fact that the whole community agreed by giving such person the authority to become their king or to become their queen. So such person might not necessarily be loved by the whole community alone, but once there is an agreement by the majority to make such person a king or a queen, such person enjoys the validation of all the community. You may not like the king, but you don't have the choice. Once the king shows up, you have to bow down to hail the king. When the king sends out an instruction, it has to be obeyed. So the validation is not actually given to the king in person, but is given to the office that the king or the queen occupies. Let me give the third example, which has to do with corporate organization. A CEO is validated by virtue of the fact that the board, either through a vote or through consensus, agrees that the CEO will now become the head of the organization. So such person enjoys the validation of everybody in the organization because that validation is not just given to the person, it's given to the office of the CEO. Some members of the organization might not agree with the choice of picking that person or of voting or selecting that person. But once that leader emerges and occupies such office, such person is validated because the person is given what is known as the traditional validation. Here comes the second category of validation. It's what I call leadership or personality validation. This type of validation comes by virtue of what a leader is able to do. It comes by virtue of a leader's personality, a leader's character, a leader's competence, a leader's addition of value to the customers, to the people that are around them. When leaders are able to discharge their duties and their responsibilities in such a way that influence, inspire, and impact on their team, their community, such leader will enjoy what is called leadership or personality validation. They are considered acceptable. They are honored by virtue of the input that they make to their community, which has helped the people or their workers to scale higher and to become better persons over time. One of the reasons why they get their validation is by virtue of their humility, their character, and their ability to show that they care to their citizens or their team, not just the traditional validation. Leaders who knows how to use their traditional validation effectively, they often get the leadership and personality validation as well. They are respected when they leave the office. Why? Because they have been able to understand how to use their traditional validation effectively. It means they don't just trample on people because they are validated as the CEO or as the king or as a politician. They ensure that they discharge their duties and their responsibilities. Leadership and personality validation is the best kind of validation that any leader can get. When you get such validation as a leader, it is important for you to note that such validation is a good thing to have. Such leaders enjoy peace. They are respected. Anywhere they go, the community or the team find them acceptable. Their feelings, their opinion, their suggestions, whatever they bring to the table is considered valid and very important. Thank you very much for your time. Until I come your way next time, always remember that we rise by helping others. Thank you.